coming to an end of this very special day. And like I announced earlier, I will have a little fireside chat without a fire, actually. But we want to talk a bit more about conversational AI, as we just touched upon in the panel discussion. So, Anke, you shared an article with me recently on automatically generated layoffs and obituaries, which I find ethically highly questionable. Is it possible to even write a personal note on someone who died, who passed away, when the relatives, the family is in pain? Is that possible? A chat GPT doesn't have feelings or intent. Alex, do you want to say something about this?
Yeah, sure. I don't think it's possible at all. I think it's taking one of the moments in which we need the most human emotion and thought and acknowledgement of the situation and handing it off to something that has no feelings. And why would you squander one of the most precious moments to reflect on with something like that? I think that's where we're seeing conversational AI be abused within our industry. And I was recently also shared an article with Angel and Nina about marketers using social AI to craft personalized emails, and not just doing it, but telling people on LinkedIn how to do it. And millions actually had watched this video. And the founder of Hey.com, he made a post about how this was allowing people to scale their abilities, or this personalization, this human kind of aspect of conversation with AI in a way that hijacks our attention. Because typically when somebody writes you, you acknowledge that they put time into you, and you're willing to give a little bit of your time back to them if it seems authentic. And when you use AI to do that, you're essentially hijacking our attention, right? You're basically saying, I don't necessarily respect your time or you. And I think with AI, yeah, of course we want to work smart, and we want to be around people who work smart. So we want people to use tools to do their jobs more efficiently. But when we feel devalued, it's just not the right way. And I think as far as what you're attempting to do when you send this email, it's an attempt to connect. And I can connect with another person. I can't really connect with AI, nor do I care to. I don't want to spend my time talking to AI, because I know that it can never acknowledge me the way somebody can for real. So, Angel, I think...
It never ceases to amaze me that, the industry failed on, for example, voice technology. Alexa has been a disaster. It's the most bullied device in the history of devices.
Yeah.
And complete disaster. And, the expectations, this is the key for me. The expectations of the majority of the people when they see something that they hope for it to hold some kind of life are really high. I mean, I look at my cat and I think she's a goddess. Or, you look at a guitar and you think that it gently weeps, You think that you want to give life to things that you become relatable to you. And the expectations are high. And they tap on these and this innocence. When an AI, I love the way Alonso defends his arguments. These are just tools. Okay, tools that, as a knife can be a tool. I remember Alonso saying this argument, I'm sorry to say, 20 years ago. And it can be really bad or it can be really good. Yeah. But it's on us, what do we do with it? So AI can be absolutely fabulous, and conversational AI can have some interesting uses. But it is not a life. Right. It's a thing, right? In the same way as we are alive and we are not things, And that creates a very fundamental crisis on our most essential nature, which is to be communicative beings. We need to relate to each other, right? I don't know what you think about that.
Absolutely. It's what I was kind of babbling on about earlier in the panel is that when we have an opportunity, your customer's in front of you or wants to talk to you, it's this thing that you're spending so much money on to try and get their attention when you don't have it. You're marketing, you're tracking, you're doing all of this stuff, waving your signs, and then when you've got your customer there trying to talk to you, really, you should listen. And instead, you want to squander that opportunity and put it in front of a bot. And really, it's not just about the data that's captured. It's about this opportunity, like I said, to build trust. And I don't think that when we go into a shop or something, we tell them our story of what we did that day, or maybe I'm into mountain biking or skiing, and sometimes we say, oh, well, you tell them about how you like to ski because you want them to recommend the right products for you. But I go into shops all the time, and I tell them what I did that day, and I'm not looking for recommendation. It's just that I'm looking to relate to that person and connect with them on a level that I think we all seek as humans. And so you can't replace that with AI. I think that's where we have a great advantage over AI coming and taking over all of our jobs or whatever people might be talking about, is that we have one thing that AI will never have, and it's our greatest asset, is our ability to acknowledge each other. And so I think that AI is going to be a great tool for us to leverage our potential to do amazing things and learn great things, but we will always be riding on top of that horse. We're always going to be using it, and I think that's the promise of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, like I said, it doesn't have any intention and lacks human interaction. It cannot talk to others or knows like who is related to, or maybe it does, but just because it's like an acquired skill with data that it was fed with. It's not something that has feelings or intentions or emotions.
Absolutely.
Anke?
Exactly. It lacks of any ability to emote, any ability to relate, any ability to feel. I'm sorry if you think that AI can feel or emote or hold sentiment in any way. It's just intractable. I mean, but just think, as we're concluding, okay, we're closing. But you heard Manuela here today. What an outstanding, incredibly strong, inspirational woman. The impact that this woman has in that community, okay? And she decides herself to dedicate a lot of her time to help children with alternative abilities. Now, imagine that we were as fool to think that we can create some AI technology to help those people with alternative abilities. Some guy or some girl who has some problem to be able to communicate, to be able to socialize, to be able to walk about, and we decide to put in front of them some chatbot. I mean, for God's sake, are we nuts? And there are people thinking on that technology to help people, to give them, actually the CEO of ChatGPT said that perhaps we could give health advice and service through ChatGPT for people who are in need. You're going to make them more sick, So it's this fundamental confusion that we need to rebel against it. Yeah. And I can't believe we need to talk about this because it falls by the weight of its own, wrongness, yeah. Sorry, I could wind up about that, but it's important that we take a stand for that, yeah.
I think as we go forward, we talk about data privacy and owning our actions, owning our own intent, and being able to understand even what we're getting ourselves into. And I think there's a huge opportunity for AI and conversational AI to help us even extract value out of that for ourselves and help us interface with businesses in a way that is what we desire. But it's always in support of those interactions and not to replace us, And I think that's, if you take that approach, at least my perspective is that we'll end up on the right side of it because we're smart enough that we'll reject things really quickly if they start to feel false. And so we're going to have to look for ways to make sure everybody knows we're not.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, as Alonso also was saying, also Seth said this, you know, you cannot get away with being unethical for too long. You know, life is too long, and it always gets to you. You can't escape it. You end up badly. And, you know, the same way as Meta, in the moment of complete collapse, they put a metaverse in there because they're a trillion cap company. And when you are really big, you get to choose how fast or how slow it's going to get to you. But it's going to get to you. And now Microsoft, etc., they see in ChatGPT another metaverse, although kind of a multiverse of the metaverse, to try and put out there something else that can help them to give them some further runway, as opposed to confront, you know, the reality of trying to be more ethical, sustainable, etc., and authentic value exchange and relationships, which goes against their very business models, right? Yeah. But anyway, this is what I think is a very exciting time, and with that,
Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to welcome you again to the new age of ethical commerce. So thank you so much.